right, Assembly, we're ready to start. So we invite everyone to please take your seats. And well, good morning. First of all, welcome to Samarkand, the beautiful heart of the Silk Road. Just by seeing this venue, we can see how special this country is. Though I do encourage you to take advantage of the Assembly site visits to further explore Uzbekistan. Before we begin, allow me to go over a few housekeeping matters. Interpretation is available in English, French, and Spanish. You are welcome to address the floor in any of those languages. With thanks to the host country, there will also be a channel in Uzbek. The headsets are available at your seats. To request the floor, you can simply click on your microphone. I will get here the list of requests and I will give the floor in the order that the requests were received. As shown in the agenda, there is no formal coffee break. However, coffee, tea, and light bites are available in the catering area. Water may be brought to the room, but we kindly ask that food will be consumed outside. Finally, one important note on the agenda. The timetable has been revised some days ago. With that update, we will now begin with the formal Assembly proceedings, then followed around noon by the official opening of the Assembly. For the opening, we will be honored to welcome Her Excellency Saida Mirziyoyeva, Head of the Presidential Administration of Uzbekistan. With no further ado, I will now hand it over to the Interim CEO to start with the Assembly.
Thank you, Secretary. Good morning. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to welcome you all to the 8th General Assembly of the Global Environment Facility. We are delighted to gather in this historic city of Samarkand and hope you are already enjoying its remarkable beauty and atmosphere. Allow me to express our sincere gratitude to our host, the government of Uzbekistan, for their continued leadership, commitment, and for the warm welcome and hospitality to all of us. We already feel like home. As mentioned by the Assembly Secretary, we will have Agenda Item 1, the opening of the Assembly, later this morning. So let us jump in immediately to the Assembly proceedings. I would like to now invite the Assembly to turn to Agenda Item 2. In accordance with paragraph 12 of the Rules of Procedures for the GEF Assembly, the Assembly is to elect a chair among the representatives attending the meeting. In this respect, I would like to propose that the Assembly elects His Excellency Mr. Aziz Abdukakimov, Advisor to the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan on Environment and Chairman of the National Committee on Ecology and Climate Change, as the Chair of the Assembly by acclamation. Having been duly elected by acclamation, I invite His Excellency to join us here at the head table. I now hand over the floor to the Chair.
Good morning, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates, head of delegations, head of international organizations, NGOs. It is a great honor for me and for Uzbekistan to be entrusted with the role of the chair of the 8th Assembly of the Global Environment Facility. I sincerely thank all members for their trust and support. I would also to express my deep appreciation to the GEF leadership and particularly to Dr. Claude Garçon for his dedication and leadership in advancing the global environmental agenda and strengthening international cooperation for our shared future. Dear colleagues, Under the leadership of the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, His Excellency Mr. Shavkat Mirziyoyev, environmental sustainability and transition to green economy have become key priorities for Uzbekistan 2030 strategy. In recent years, Uzbekistan has strengthened its environmental governance system, where National Committee on Ecology and Climate Change operates under the project-based management approach, enabling more effective implementation of 5 nationwide projects in Uzbekistan in priority areas including air quality protection, biodiversity conservation, waste management, greening of territories, and the development of environmental education and culture. Within these 5 nationwide projects, Uzbekistan has set measurable environmental targets by 2030. To reduce air emission by 10%, plant 2 million seedlings annually, increase the country's green coverage up to 30%, expand protected areas to 9.4 million hectares, establish 14 green colleges, and train at least 10,000 specialists for green economy every year. To escalate these reforms into regional level and implement practical solutions, we have established Eco Expo Central Asia platform. It serves to attract financial resources and green solutions to projects aimed at addressing environmental challenges across regions and industries. I take this opportunity to invite you to this exhibition organized here. I am confident that our green projects will serve as a basis for mutually beneficial agreements. Distinguished participants, another important platform for international cooperation is the Green University in Tashkent. Established as an integrated ecosystem for environmental education, science, innovation, and capacity building, the Green University brings together researchers, policymakers, students, international organizations, and private sector partners to develop practical solutions to environmental and climate challenges. We warmly invite young professionals, researchers, and students from around the region to study, conduct research, and collaborate at the Green University, contributing to the next generation of environmental leaders and innovators. Dear colleagues, we gather at a critical moment. The world is facing accelerating climate change, biodiversity loss, land degradation, pollution, and growing pressure on natural resources. These interconnected challenges transcend national borders and require collective action at unprecedented scale. Under the slogan, "Nature knows no border," Uzbekistan strongly believes in the power of multilateral cooperation. Through the GEF partnership, we can support countries in achieving their climate and biodiversity goals while promoting sustainable and inclusive development. From restoring degraded lands and ecosystems to conserving biodiversity, strengthening climate resilience, reducing pollution, and supporting sustainable resource management, the work of the GEF countries to deliver tangible results on the ground, particularly for developing countries. As a chair, I will work with all of you in spirit of openness, inclusiveness, and partnership to ensure a successful, productive, and impactful assembly. I thank you and look forward for our fruitful discussions. Thank you. And now I would like to move to agenda item 3, election of the vice chairs. In accordance with the paragraph 12 of the rules of procedures for the GEF Assembly, the Assembly is to elect 2 vice chairs from among the representatives attending the meeting. 1 vice chair is to be representative of recipient country participant, and 1 vice chair is to be a representative of non-recipient country participant. I open the floor for nominations. I see Australia as request for the floor. I give the floor to the representative of Australia. Please.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to propose that Minister Maina Vakafau Talia, Minister of Environment for Tuvalu, be elected as Vice Chair for the recipient participants. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I give the floor to the representative of Mexico. Please, floor is yours. Mexico.
Mexico, if you could please unmute yourself.
Can you listen?
Yes, we hear you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to second the motion that Mr. Maina Bakafo Atalia, Minister of Environment of Tuvalu, be elected as Vice Chair for the recipient participants. And I would like to propose that Mr. Shuichi Hosoda, Deputy Vice Minister of Finance for International Affairs of Japan, be elected as Vice Chair for the non-recipient participants.
Thank you. And next, I would like to give the floor to representative of Germany. Please, floor is yours.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to echo from previous speakers and would like to propose that Mr. Tuichi Hosoda be elected as Vice Chair for the non-recipient participants. Thank you.
Thank you. We have two candidates, and with applause, I take it that both nominations are approved by acclamation. My congratulations to the two vice chairs, and I invite them to join the head table as we continue with the agenda. Please. And now I would like to turn to agenda item 4, adoption of the agenda and organization of work. The draft agenda is available in document GEF/A.8/01 and allow me to guide you through. The agenda foresees for follow-up with the item 5 to 9, where we will hear statements by the GEF Independent Evaluation Office, by the STAP, Scientific Technical Advisory Panel, and civil society, indigenous people. We continue. The civil society, indigenous people, and local communities, women and youth, the floor will be open to discuss the GEF Trust Fund retrospective, then the GEF NINS replacement negotiation will be presented. Around noon, we will proceed with the agenda item 1, opening ceremony, where we expect to receive the head of presidential administration of the Republic of Uzbekistan. After lunch, we will reconvene the head of delegation statements on agenda item 10, where we expect to hear head of delegations reflecting on national priorities, outline environmental challenges and ambitions, key expectations from GEF 9. In order of the session is available online. Under the item 11, series of high-level roundtables will be commenced this afternoon and continue tomorrow morning in parallel rooms to the plenary in this same venue, covering 9 thematic topics on: first, science, integration, and systems transformation. Second, how can the GEF leverage the conventions and its family of funds to deliver on the 2030 goals? Third, how can blended finance and the private sector bridge the funding gap? Fourth, how the GEF increase its resources mobilization by leveraging its public ODA funding in the future. Fifth, how the maximize implementation for more ambition result and of the GEF's investments. Sixth, leaving no country behind. Cites LDCs, fragile and vulnerable countries. Seventh, leaving no one behind. Civil societies, women, and indigenous peoples. And eighth, leading the way from the ground. GEF recipients countries investing all of government approaches and in the policy coherence for scale. Ninth, forging partnership for land and water in Central Asia and beyond. Tomorrow morning, we will begin with the remaining head of delegation statements and high-level round tables. After lunch, the Assembly will proceed to item 12, high-level plenary session, the last sprint towards 2030, implementing the nature climate pollution GEF 9 agenda, moderated by Dr. Rosina Birbaum, chairperson of the GEF Scientific and Technical Advisory Panel. This will be followed by agenda item 13 and 14 on report on credentials and participants, presentation of chair's summary. Assembly will conclude with the item 15, closing of the assembly, after which you are all invited to the cultural event and reception jointly organized by Government of Uzbekistan and GEF Secretariat at the Eternal City, not far from the conference center. Shuttles to the venue and back to the hotels will be provided. Of course, we hope you will also find time to enjoy your stay in Samarkand, the historic city of the Silk Road and the world tourism capital by UN Tourism. I welcome any comments to the proposed agenda and the organization of work as I have just described it. Please, I give the floor to Russian Federation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I would like to congratulate you on your election as the chair of this important meeting. And I have a question of procedural matter. You know, in accordance to the rules of procedure of the Assembly, and that is Article 8, which I quote, reads, documentation for the Assembly will be made available in Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish. Interventions shall be made at the Assembly meetings in either Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, or Spanish, and shall be interpreted into other 5 languages. As I see now, we have interpretation only in English, Spanish, French, and Uzbek languages. That's the question maybe to the Secretariat, how this issue has to be addressed, and we have to follow the rules of procedure of the Assembly, which provides for the translation in all 6 official UN languages. Thank you. I seek your guidance in this respect.
Thank you. I ask the Secretariat to answer this question, please.
Thank you very much for that very good question to the Russian Federation. There was a document presented for Council last December where it was proposed that the Assembly will be conveyed in these 3 languages as it's done in Council, and it was approved as such. Therefore, that's why we currently have those 3 languages. So thank you. Thank you for that question.
Okay. Any other requests from the floor? I see no further comments. The agenda is adopted. Thank you. Now we will continue with agenda item 5, statement by the GEF Independent Evaluation Office. The Assembly has available online document GEF/A.8/05, its overall performance study of the GEF. I invite Ms. Jita Batra, Director of the Independent Evaluation Office, to the podium. Please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning, everybody. Distinguished heads of delegation, council members, excellencies, colleagues, and friends. It is a pleasure to join you at this GEF Assembly in Uzbekistan. I would like to begin by thanking the government and people of Uzbekistan for their generous hospitality and for hosting us in this remarkable city of Samarkand. As we begin the GEF 9 period, this is both a moment of reflection and a moment of renewal, an opportunity to look back on what the partnership has achieved, to learn from that experience, and to look ahead to the challenges and opportunities before us. Over more than 3 decades, the GEF has helped countries address some of the world's most pressing environmental challenges. It has supported innovation, strengthened institutions, mobilized finance, and generated environmental benefits across the globe. A key reason for the GEF's continued relevance and its effectiveness has been in its commitment to accountability and learning. Throughout its history, the partnership has demonstrated a willingness not only to act, but also to reflect, adapt, and improve. Independent evaluation has been an important part of that journey, helping ensure that lessons from experience inform future decisions. The recent replenishment process provides a powerful example. Discussions on GEF 9 began with the findings of OPS 8, the 8th comprehensive evaluation of the GEF, and its recommendations are now reflected in the programming and policy directions for the next phase of this partnership. Few institutions can point to such a direct connection between independent evidence and future strategy. It reflects the seriousness with which GEF approaches accountability, learning, and continuous improvement. What then does the OPS 8 tell us about the GEF today? Drawing on evidence from nearly 4,000 completed projects across 163 countries, OPS 8 provides the most comprehensive assessment of the GEF's performance and evolution to date. The findings are very encouraging. More than 80% of projects have achieved their intended objectives, demonstrating that GEF continues to deliver results while adapting to a changing world. The evaluation highlights the partnership's ability to catalyze innovation, strengthen institutions, mobilize finance, and increasingly address environmental challenges through more integrated approaches. At the same time, OPS 8 identifies an important challenge for the future. Success is not only about achieving results, it is about ensuring that those results endure. Strong institutions, supportive policies, sustainable financing, and long-term commitment are essential if environmental gains are to last. The next frontier is not about just delivering impact, it is about sustaining and scaling it. As the GEF enters GEF 9, it does so from a position of strength. It has demonstrated its ability to deliver results, learn from experience, and adapt to new challenges. The opportunity now is to build on that foundation, to support country-driven solutions, mobilize greater investment in finance, and translate success into lasting transformational change. The challenges ahead are significant, but so too are the experience, knowledge, and commitment that have shaped this partnership over the last 3 decades. Those strengths give us every reason to be optimistic about what the GEF can achieve in the years ahead. To conclude, I invite you to view a short video that reflects on the achievements of the GEF partnership and the lessons that will help shape the future. Thank you. Could we have the OPS 8 video, please? Every 4 years, replenishments to the Global Environment Facility are informed by a thorough, independent evaluation of GEF results and performance, shaping the future direction and funding priorities of the GEF.
OPS 8 examines how an approach centered on integration is shaping the GEF's work, bringing together evidence across performance, marginalized groups, risk and innovation, financing, and delivery systems.
Our latest evaluation draws on a broad range of methodologies at the forefront of environmental evaluation, including artificial intelligence, geospatial analysis, and text analytics, alongside other quantitative and qualitative approaches applied by our data analysts.
The GEF remains highly relevant in addressing urgent environmental challenges, continuing to respond to the conventions through its support of focal areas and an increased shift towards integrated programs.
OPS 8 finds that the GEF continues to deliver strong results with growing opportunities to further strengthen their long-term sustainability.
Integrated programming is now central to the GEF, with nearly half of the GEF 8 portfolio taking this approach.
By connecting sectors, institutions, and financing, these programs address the root drivers of environmental degradation as linked systems.
As this shift matures, it's now time to consolidate and strengthen. This requires strong coordination, thoughtful design under faster timelines, and continued focus on sustaining and scaling results.
OPS 8 shows that focusing on marginalized groups leads to stronger results. Gender considerations are now integrated across nearly all projects, and working closely with Indigenous peoples, local communities, and marginalized groups builds ownership and improves outcomes.
There is more to build on. Strengthening shared decision-making, ensuring sustainability of results will help deepen and extend these gains.
OPS 8 also highlights the GEF's catalytic financing model. Through partnerships, co-financing, and on-grant instruments, the GEF mobilizes additional capital to amplify its impact.
And it continues to play a critical role in opening markets and engaging the private sector. Blended finance and market transformation work best together, convening the private sector and unlocking impact at scale.
Realizing this potential will require more innovation and a greater appetite for calculated risk.
Efficiency remains a core strength of the GEF. Administrative costs are among the lowest of comparable funds, and its partnership model supports delivery at scale.
As the GEF family of funds expands, this also calls for continued efforts to streamline processes and manage transaction costs.
Results and knowledge systems have improved significantly, with strong attention to outputs, short-term outcomes, and platforms for knowledge exchange. The next step is to deepen this further, capturing how these efforts contribute to policy coherence, behavior change, and long-term sustainability.
On balance, the evidence shows that the GEF is delivering meaningful environmental outcomes. Scaling and achieving transformational impact is the next frontier.
Looking ahead, OPS 8 outlines a clear direction for GEF 9, now reflected in its programming and policy directions. These include greater selectivity in integrated programs, improved sustainability planning, increased innovation and risk-taking, deeper private sector engagement, simpler processes, stronger partnerships and transparency, deeper country engagement, more diversified financing, and stronger learning systems that support adaptation, innovation, and scale.
The scale of global environmental challenges is vast, and the path to scaling impact and achieving transformational change will not be easy.
With a good replenishment and over 30 years of experience, the GEF is well positioned to address the challenges ahead.
As we approach our 25th year of independent evaluation, I'd like to thank the IEO team and our partners across and beyond the partnership. I'm proud of what we've achieved together over the past decades, and I'm confident that as the GEF's independent evaluation function, we will continue to play an important role in helping the GEF address the world's pressing environmental challenges. Thank you very much, Chair.
I thank Ms. Gita Batra for such an extremely informative report and video presentation. Are there any comments from the floor? Thank you. I give the floor to the delegation of Germany. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Gita, for this extremely informative and uplifting presentation and video. Germany thanks the Independent Evaluation Office for OPS 8. The report shows that the GEF has a strong scientific and results-oriented backbone. In a world increasingly threatened by misinformation spread across societies, this is particularly valuable and shows that decisions for GEF 9 are grounded in evidence, not just negotiation dynamics. For Germany, this underlines the GEF's focus on results and impact. The data in the report show that the GEF delivers. About 83% of projects are rated satisfactory, and there's clear evidence on environmental and socio-economic results. OPS 8 also makes clear where we need to improve. Simpler access and clearer roles in integrated programs, stronger innovation and risk-taking, and more consistent social inclusion, especially for women, IPLCs, youth, and in the fragile contexts. We have taken on board the valuable lessons from OPS 8 throughout the GEF 9 negotiations. The 9 recommendations are a strong compass for GEF 9 and have already fed into concrete GEF 9 reforms. For example, on integrated programs, risk appetite, private sector engagement, and streamlining procedures. Therefore, Germany is pleased that the final GEF 9 package reflects the shared effort between the IAO, the Secretariat, and replenishment participants. This gives our Parliament and our taxpayer the confidence to continue our strong support for GEF. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Germany. And now I give the floor to the delegation of Democratic Republic of Congo. Please.
Merci beaucoup. Bonjour, c'est une erreur que ça s'allume soi-même.
Thank you. And next I give the floor to the delegation of Vietnam. Please, the floor is yours. Vietnam.
Oh, no, sorry, sir, Miss Martin.
Thank you. Now I give the floor to the delegation of Bahrain. Please, the floor is yours. Bahrain.
Bahrain, have you requested the floor? If not, we will proceed with the next speaker.
Well, I don't see any other request. Thank you. The Assembly takes note of this report. And now I invite our Vice Chairperson, Deputy Vice Minister Hosoda, to conduct us into the next 2 agenda items. Hosoda-san, dozo.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everyone. The Assembly will now consider Agenda Item 6, Statement by the Scientific and Technical Advisory Panel. The Assembly has available document GEF/8.8/6, Report of the Scientific and Technical Advisory Panel. I invite the Chairperson of the Scientific and Technical Advisory Panel, Dr. Rosina Bilban, to the podium.
Rosina, can you turn on your microphone, please?
Help, wouldn't it?
There you go. Thank you very much.
That might be a bit louder. Thank you, Vice Chair, and good morning to this distinguished heads of delegations, council members, excellency, colleagues, and friends of the GEF Partnership. It's a pleasure to join you at the opening of this assembly in the very beautiful and hospitable city of Samarkand. You know, a true crossroads of culture, of knowledge, and an exchange, a most fitting place for a global partnership, committed to cooperation and shared solutions. As we already heard this morning, this assembly comes at a truly defining moment, and as the world moves so quickly towards 2030, the pressures on the global environment are intensifying just as quickly. Climate change, biodiversity loss, land degradation, pollution, water stress, food insecurity, and social vulnerability are no longer separate challenges. They are interacting, reinforcing one another, and testing the resilience of ecosystems, of institutions, of economies, and of communities. So for STAP, the science panel, the question is not only what the GEF can finance, but truly how those investments can help shift systems towards more durable, equitable, and transformational outcomes. And since I'm a scientist and a professor, you are probably expecting a 45-minute lecture with 60 PowerPoints. However, in keeping up with the beautiful video of our sister agency, the Independent Evaluation Office, I'll show you instead only a 9-minute video on those interlinked challenges to reflect what we have learned, what the science is telling us, and how the GEF can continue to use evidence, innovation, integration, and learning to accelerate progress during GEF 9. But alas, you have to listen to my voice on the video, not David Attenborough. But many of the beautiful images that you will see are images from real GEF projects around the world, making tremendous difference. And like Ita Batra, I must thank the STAP, the panel, and the scientists who represent the wisdom that you will see in this video. So could we have the STAP video, please? As the Global Environment Facility enters GEF 9, we do so at a time of profound change, increasing pressures and instability. The sprint towards 2030 demands transformation faster, deeper, and at scale. Sustainability depends on the interconnected relationships among environment, society, and the economy. Often these aren't treated equally, and environment and people shrink in comparison to economic concerns. But more than 1/2 of the world's economy, $50 trillion, depends directly on the environment, and it is central to equity and prosperity. The latest global assessments send us clear messages. We need transformational change. Incremental change is not enough. And transformation requires integrated solutions that simultaneously tackle progress across systems, across food, across energy, water, land, and livelihoods. Over GEF 7 and GEF 8, the staff has focused our work on 3 priorities: pursuing resilience and enduring impact, innovation, enabling new approaches and embracing calculated risk, and always knowledge and learning, leveraging evidence to improve outcomes through adaptive management. These are some of our products during GEF 7 and 8. Everything from improving project design with systems thinking, evaluating a range of future narratives, incorporating behavioral change, best practices in natural capital approaches, circular economy, monitoring, evaluation, and learning. Staff's advice contributed directly to the adoption of climate risk screening, theories of change, and risk appetite frameworks, while also shaping the shift towards integration and systems-based approaches. The big cover in the middle was our early advice in 2024 as we began the push towards GEF 9. As STAP looks to GEF 9, several priorities have emerged. They're covered in the new Assembly report and recognize that the GEF 9 programming and policy documents incorporate much of our earlier advice. Our 7 recommendations are: first, for the entire GEF portfolio, develop an overarching theory of change that demonstrates how integrated programs and partnerships and projects collectively contribute to systems transformation. Second, strengthen investment in innovation, not only technological innovation, but also policy, institutional, financial, and business innovation. That means a higher risk appetite for innovation. Third, foster policy coherence across ministries, sectors, countries, and the multilateral environmental agreements. Fourth, improve the social foundations needed for transformation by expanding financing and participation opportunities for civil society, indigenous peoples, women, and youth. Expanding on that one, STAP had workshops with GEF's Inclusive Conservation Initiative and the Indigenous Peoples Advisory Group. Our report made 5 recommendations: bridge knowledge systems, reinforce rights and free, prior, and informed consent processes, strengthen participation in GEF's governance, co-design projects and programs, expand finance that can help move vision to actual implementation. Fifth, influence market transformations with others to shift corporate and regulatory actions towards more nature-positive outcomes. Sixth, in GEF 9, monitor that systems transformation is occurring with indicators so we understand how and what change is occurring. Seventh, build on lessons learned from our experience with integrated programs, share tools, and network learning. Learn from both successes and failures. STAP also has thoughts on principles and pathways to help with navigating GEF 9. Our synthesis across 5 global assessments shown here helped identify 6 principles on sustainability transition. Human-nature relationships shift societal values to restore balance between humans and nature. just transitions. To be equitable and just, we need transformational change. Inclusive governance is essential, recognizing diverse actors and knowledge systems and values. Systems thinking to tackle the interconnectivity of planetary crises and drivers, identifying pathways to change with necessary actions, choices, and feedback, and adaptive learning to navigate complexity and sometimes changing conditions and risk. Going forward, STAP will continue supporting the GEF through 3 strategic pathways. Applying, of course, the latest evidence-based scientific insights, continuing to screen and evaluate the project's quality and be sure innovation risk is increasing, and providing continued support to improve adaptive management and learning. These pathways are interactive and reinforcing. Applying the latest evidence can sharpen strategic prioritization that can improve project design, and learning can feed back into the future cycle. GEF is focusing on addressing whole systems, as shown in the center, and the integrated programs are meant to be transformational. In the outer partial circles, we see GEF's strong focus on levers in the dark blue, as well as the needed dimensions of an accelerated, sustainable, and just transition. Whole of government and whole of society are key. Breaking policy silos, harnessing synergies, and making nature a market asset are all critical. And we have seen, for example, that the Sustainable Cities Integrated Program, now in its 3rd phase, is linking infrastructure, biodiversity, and businesses as a system. We need more of this. And here are the latest STAP publications produced for this week's council. They range from transformation principles to the hydrological cycle, to that assembly report I mentioned, to tackling illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, case studies on antimicrobial resistance and batteries, and emerging technologies. We hope these publications strengthen the bridge between science and decision making. And finally, in this slide are pictures of various sectors and places where the GEF is targeting transformational activities. Just to point out 3, the fishermen. The GEF is working with 15 small island developing states through the Blue and Green Island Integrated Program. The rhinos relate to the GEF's first performance bond, the Rhino Bond, a hallmark of its blended finance program. And the wildlife corridor to the left of the car shows efforts by the Integrated Program on Sustainable Transportation. GEF is well on its way. Let's get us all to the 2030 finish line. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lobana, for the very impressive report. Now, I'd like to invite the comments from the floor. Are there any comments from the floor? Yes. Now, I give the floor to the Germany.
Thanks very much, Chairman. I really don't want to hog the spot, so maybe someone else wants to come first. Also, maybe people find it difficult to actually navigate the system. Possibly the word of advice to all the delegates might also help in this issue. So, should I go forward?
Yes, please, Annette. Yes.
Thanks very much. Germany thanks STAP for its strong science-based contribution to GEF 9. and particularly, obviously, Professor Rosina Bierbaum for the excellent presentation. As always, a true delight to hear you, listen to you, and watch your videos. The stock taking shows clearly how much of STEP's advice is already reflected in the new replenishment. This shows that the GEF is strong in implementing evidence-based guidance. It is very positive that STEP now has a clear vision for its evolving role, focusing on strategic prioritization, quality of design, and adaptive learning. This can help the GEF sharpen its overall theory of change, improve project and program quality, and use real-time evidence for greater and more lasting impact. And that's what we are really all looking for, recipient and non-recipient countries alike. Germany particularly welcomes STEP's priority on the innovation ecosystem and the systems thinking approach. Working with regional multilateral science bodies is a timely step. It supports GEF 9 reforms on the ground in the countries we're working with, and that aims to take more calculated risk, expand non-grant instruments, and strengthen private sector engagement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Germany. Any other comments from other delegation?
It's so strange.
Okay, thank you. So, Rosina, do you wish to respond to the comments?
Well, thank you so much. I mean, I guess I do want to say this is my 4th assembly, and this one's goal is the sprint towards 2030, and we are all sprinting together. We're integrating across the multilateral environmental agreements and the sectors. We're focused on achieving the needed transformational change, and with the brain trust in this room, I believe we will succeed and leave a sustainable planet for the next generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So now the Assembly takes note of this report. Now we'll move to the next agenda. The Assembly will consider Agenda Item 7, statement by a representative of civil society organization and indigenous peoples and local communities. I now invite Fazal Parish, chair of the GEF CSO network, to report the Assembly on the CSO forum that took place yesterday. Adia, floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. I'm Faisal Parish, Chair of the GEF CSO Network. We would like to thank, firstly, the government of Uzbekistan for hosting us in Samarkand, a crossroad of civilization for thousands of years. We address the participants of the GEF Assembly on behalf of civil society in all its diversity, as defined in Agenda 21. This statement has been prepared by representatives of civil society attending the Civil Society Forum of the GEF Assembly held yesterday afternoon. We gather at a pivotal moment. The world faces an unprecedented challenge and convergence of environmental crises. Climate change, biodiversity loss, land degradation, pollution, freshwater scarcity, and growing social inequalities are undermining the foundation of human well-being and threatening the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. We recognize the proven capacity of civil society organizations, indigenous peoples, local communities, women and youth to safeguard and manage natural resources and ecosystems and protect the environment. The major environmental challenges of our time call for every voice, every community, and every partnership we can build. Many of these challenges cross borders, and so does civil society. Our networks connect communities across regions and nations, and that reach is itself a key partnership for GEF to build on. The GEF and civil society are at their most powerful when they work as one. Only together can we transform the fate of our planet. We commend the GEF contributors for their pledges to date and to GEF for its commitment to direct 20% of the GEF 9 programming towards actions by Indigenous peoples and local communities, as well as refining financing mechanisms, policies and guidelines to ensure their responsiveness to civil society, IPLCs, women and youth. This represents a significant milestone in recognizing the central role of rights-based, community-led conservation and sustainable development. We call on the GEF to transform its partnership with civil society, especially CSOs, Indigenous people, women and youth, through the following actions. Firstly, we urge countries that have yet to announce a contribution to GEF 9 to make a meaningful pledge as soon as possible so that GEF 9 resources at least match or exceed those of GEF 8 in line with international commitments. Secondly, GEF during the GEF 9 and beyond should substantially increase the availability and access to funding for civil society, including expanded direct access to funding across the GEF family of funds and incorporating civil society components into GEF projects and integrated programs. Access should be flexible, culturally appropriate, adequate, and predictable. GEF should expand the small grants program, including by encouraging recipient countries to scale up SGP by providing at least 200 million from their STAR allocations to top up the core SGP funds. GEF should also deepen civil society engagement in its transboundary and regional work because ecosystems are shared beyond borders, yet the communities who depend on them are too often left out of cooperation that manages them. GEF should also ensure that all policies and programs guarantee a rights-based approach, emphasizing the need to address historical and regional injustice, including securing land tenure for women and eliminating gender-based violence. GEF must give greater decision-making roles for civil society representatives in its governance at global, national, and project levels. We believe representatives should be self-selected by civil society to ensure proper representation. Seventh, GEF must strengthen the transparency and accountability of the use of GEF funds. This must include the monitoring and reporting on the impacts, as well as the fund flow to Indigenous peoples and local communities and CSOs across the entire project cycle. GEF should support participatory monitoring and integrate community-generated data to inform effective programming and resourcing. Last but not least, GEF should support the expansion of education and capacity building programs, drawing on the diverse knowledge systems and expertise of civil society. Supporting capacity development can further enhance the ability of civil society to safeguard the environment, as well as design, implement, and monitor GEF projects and programs. Education programs linked to GEF focal areas can help enhance understanding of current and future generations to safeguard the planet. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, we call on GEF and member governments to redouble efforts to work together and ensure an integrated cross-sector transformational approach to address the planetary crisis for current and future generations and expand partnership with civil society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Faisal, for your report. I now invite Ms. Vivian Shiloe of the GEF Indigenous People Advisory Group to address the floor.
Distinguished co-chairs, dear delegates, civil societies, country representatives, donors, and partners. Before I deliver my statement, I would like to thank the government of Uzbekistan for welcoming us here in Samarkand, where the Silk Road has always brought peoples together across cultures, distances, and differences. Rahmat, Uzbekistan. My name is Ilole Mali. I'm an Laikipia Maasai indigenous woman from Kenya, and I'm not here alone. Look around this room. Over 30 indigenous peoples are here. From the savannas of East Africa, the forests of the Amazon, the mountains of Asia, and the islands of the Pacific. This is the largest gathering of indigenous peoples in the history of the GEF assemblies. On behalf of the GEF Indigenous Peoples Advisory Group, I proudly take the floor today to speak not only as a representative of an advisory body, but as an indigenous woman whose community, territory, and future is directly touched by decisions made in rooms like this. For so long, less than 1% of global environment finance reached indigenous peoples directly. 1%. For peoples whose territories help conserve up to 40% of the planet's lands and seas. We were not invisible because we had nothing to offer. We were invisible because the systems were not built to see us. And some remain unseen. There are indigenous peoples in voluntary isolation and initial contact, living in territories that hold some of the planet's most irreplaceable biodiversity. Respecting their choice means protecting these territories. Their protection is not a condition of our work. It is the foundation of it. And there are indigenous peoples who, even in the midst of conflict, have never stopped stewarding their lands. A healthy planet is only possible when the rights and contributions of indigenous peoples are respected, and when we are genuine partners. That is now written into the commitments of these institutions. In 2017, IPAG and indigenous leaders called for a change. The message we sent was simple: trust us to lead. The GEF 7 Inclusive Conservation Initiative was born from that call. And what it produced is something I can speak to personally because my organization, Impact Kenya, is among those it supported. That financing helped us strengthen our systems, our credibility, and our capacity at a scale that short project cycles never could. It opened doors to larger, longer-term opportunities. It showed what is possible when indigenous organizations are trusted to lead with direct and sustained finances. On this journey, we are not alone. With a 25 million budget across 10 initiatives in 12 countries, the GEF 7 Inclusive Conservation Initiative is supporting indigenous peoples in conserving over 7.4 million hectares of land, territories, and waters, mitigating and capturing over 20.8 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, and is expected to leverage over 90 million USD in co-financing upon completion. GEF 8 has also built on that momentum with a further $25 million invested. Imagine what we can achieve together. Beyond these results, having a seat at the table matters. During the GEF 9 replenishment negotiations, an IPAC member sat in these rooms as an indigenous voice, present where decisions were being made to guide what was said, what was heard, and written into the commitments we are celebrating today. At this 8th GEF Assembly, we celebrate the GEF 9 replenishment package, $100 million dedicated to Indigenous Conservation Initiative, 4 times what came before. A target of 20% of GEF financing will support actions by Indigenous peoples and local communities across the entire GEF family of funds. Our territories and contributions will be visible in the corporate scorecard. The territories we have governed since time immemorial will now be counted in the results the world uses to measure progress. And a dedicated GEF policy on Indigenous peoples and a no-objection process for Indigenous-led projects will be developed to guide our work. For many of us, these are more than policy commitments. They represent years of work, dialogue, and perseverance by Indigenous peoples, civil society, and allies across the world. To every country that has contributed to this replenishment, we are deeply grateful. Your support strengthens the stewardship of Indigenous peoples who have protected lands, waters, cultures, and biodiversity for millennia. To those still considering their contributions, we extend our hands to you. Look around this room. We are here. We have always been here. Come and join us. With the goal of a healthy planet for healthy people, we, Indigenous peoples, commit to our leadership. With your trust and with your support. Ashe Oleng, Asante Sana, thank you, gracias, merci, Kata Rahmat.
Thank you, Vivian. Now I'd like to invite Ms. Amelia Arguin from the CBD Women's Caucus to address the floor.
Distinguished members of the Assembly, Excellencies, colleagues, good day to you all. I am Amelia Arguin, and I speak on behalf of the GEF Women and Gender Caucus. We would like to thank the chair of this Assembly and the GEF's interim CEO for recognizing women and girls' unique roles and contributions and supporting us to be here. Colleagues, the GEF Women and Gender Caucus exists because women and girls in all their diversity, including those from Indigenous peoples, local communities, and Afro-descendant peoples, are not only beneficiaries of environmental finance. We are knowledge holders, rights holders, environmental defenders, community leaders, and implementers of the convention that GEF serves. By bringing together women and gender constituencies, networks, and organizations, the caucus provides a space to identify common challenges, share implementation experiences, and contribute practical recommendations on how environmental finance can become more effective, equitable, and responsive to realities on the ground. It is in this spirit of partnership and shared responsibility that we bring 4 priorities for this Assembly to consider. First, global environmental goals can only be achieved with adequate and predictable public environmental finance. International finance obligations should be fulfilled with the urgency that addressing the planetary crisis demand. Second, All GEF processes must fully integrate gender equality by aligning with recent COP decisions, including the CBD and the UNFCCC gender plans, and ensuring adequate dedicated funding for their implementation. Third, direct, culturally appropriate, and predictable access to funding across the GEF and its family of funds must ensure resources reach women-led organizations on the ground, rather than being absorbed by intermediary administrative and managerial costs. And fourth, transparency and accountability is the next milestone to achieve. Lasting global environmental benefits require evaluation mechanisms that go beyond headcounts. Excellencies, as the Convention served by the GEF continue to strengthen gender commitments and participation mechanisms, we encourage the formal recognition of the GEF Women and Gender Caucus within its architecture, contributing to greater policy coherence, accountability, and effectiveness across its funds. GEF 9 represents an opportunity to build an effective financing system that is equitable, human rights-based, and accountable to the people and communities who are already protecting life every day. Thank you so much for the opportunity of joining you here today.
Thank you, Ameria. Lastly, let me invite Mr. Haider Derasta from the Global Youth Biodiversity Network to address the floor.
Thank you. Estimated delegates, GEF Secretariat, and colleagues. My name is Heitor Delasta. I'm speaking on behalf of the 5 youth constituencies from the multilateral environmental agreements served by the GEF. We want to begin expressing our gratitude to the GEF for its continued effort to support youth participation in the GEF processes, including in this assembly. Guided by human rights-based approaches and intergenerational equity, children and youth are both active actors to environmental solutions today, as right holders whose present and future well-being is affected by decisions being made in this room. We should therefore not be viewed solely as civil society actors or stakeholder groups. Across MEAs, youth meaningful participation is increasingly recognized as an essential component of legitimate and effective decision-making. In this regard, the GEF has the opportunity to speed up and align with evolving international best practices. The whole-of-society approach already lies at the heart of the GEF 9, recognizing that collaborative action is essential to achieving meaningful and lasting stewardship of the global environment. The GEF is placing trust in youth as environmental stewards. As youth representatives, we are here to reaffirm that we are collective, organized, and ready to contribute meaningfully to the GEF process, not only through consultation, but from project design and implementation to policy development and decision-making. Today, within the GEF, the GBFF Youth Observers present a blueprint of inclusive governance that is already running and can be improved and expanded for the whole GEF family of funds. At the same time, the small grant programs and the Fonseca Leadership Program operate as standalone programs that must be systematically mainstreamed in the GEF family of funds. And we can do more. New programs that are flexible, predictable, and culturally appropriated must ensure that resources will reach to the ground. Recognize that this is not an easy task. However, we are organizing ourselves through a GEF youth network that offers a practical pathway to establishing a long-term mechanism that will contribute more effectively to GEF strategies, policies, programs, and projects. In doing so, the creation of a GEF youth strategy will be the first step to guide us through this pathway. We advance our work building on the important achievements of the GEF CSO network and the IPAG. We stand as allies to keep advocating for direct access to indigenous peoples and local communities while embracing the establishment of the youth seat at the IPAG. We also express alignment with the women groups in strengthening participation and inclusive environmental governance across the GEF partnerships. Dear delegates, we stand ready to deliver the ambition of GEF 9 and advance transformative action for people and planet. The GEF Secretariat has created the space. Now it's time for countries to ensure international solidarity and international finance obligations, raising their pledges to the GEF, and to agencies and partners to work together and take this commitment into action. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Corinne, for those strong messages of encouragement. Now I'd like to invite any comments from the floor. No further comments? Then the Assembly takes note of these statements. Now I invite our Vice Chairperson, Minister Talia, to conduct us on to the next two agenda items.
Thank you. The Assembly will now turn to agenda item 8, report on the GEF Trust Fund. The Assembly has available document GEF/A8/04, GEF 8 funding retrospective, prepared by the Trust Fund of the GEF Trust Fund, that report on the resources made available to the GEF Trust Fund during GEF 8. The Assembly is invited to take note of this document. I see no comments from the floor. The document is noted. The Assembly will now consider agenda item 9, report on the 9th replenishment of the GEF Trust Fund. The Assembly has available document GEF/A8/03 that has been discussed and endorsed by the Council this Sunday. I will give the floor to the interim GEF CEO, Claude, to present the report to the Assembly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. It's my pleasure to report on the 9th replenishment of the GEF Trust Fund. Together, over the past 18 months, we have negotiated and delivered a strong and ambitious package for GEF 9. This package contains the investment strategy, the policy recommendations, and the resource allocation model. I am pleased to report the negotiations delivered a consensus package with the main priorities for GEF 9 being the continuation of the integration pathway and integrated programs, scaling up of blended finance to unlock greater investment, advancing whole of society and whole of government approaches, deepening our support to Indigenous peoples and local communities, sustaining robust support for least developed countries and small island developing states, streamlining and facilitating access by countries to GEF resources while continuing to deliver global environmental benefits for everyone, everywhere. The success of the negotiations represents a renewed vote of confidence in multilateralism, in the GEF partnership, in the GEF as a financial mechanism, and in the importance of the global environment. For that, I thank and congratulate all participants. Before handing back the floor to the Vice Chair, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I would like to show a video that is certainly worth 3.9 billion words, or in this case, dollars. Can we show the video, please?
Thank you so much, Claude, for the report. Are there any comments from the floor? I will give the opportunity to Egypt.
Thank you, Chair. Egypt welcomes the successful conclusion of the GEF-9 replenishment process and appreciates the efforts of all contributors and participants through the negotiations. At the same time, implementation of GEF-9 will take place in an increasingly challenging global environment characterized by declining official development assistance, constrained development finance, rising debt burdens in many developing countries, and growing geopolitical and economic uncertainties. These trends risk widening the gap between environmental ambition and countries' capacities to implement their commitment. In this context, we note the increasing emphasis in GEF-9 on integrated program, blended finance, and private sector mobilization. While these approaches can play an important complementary role, they should not come at the expense of predictable public financing, which remains essential for supporting developing countries in meeting their environmental commitment. As the GEF family continues to evolve and expand, it will also be important to ensure coherence across funding windows, avoid fragmentation, and maintain a clear focus on delivering results on the ground. Egypt looks forward to working with all partners to ensure that the GEF-9 translates its ambitions into meaningful support for developing countries and lasting global environmental benefits. Thank you.
Thank you, Egypt. How do you pronounce it? Côte d'Ivoire. I will now give the floor to Côte d'Ivoire.
Okay. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. La Côte d'Ivoire, en premier lieu, entend en tout cas exprimer sa gratitude envers l'UFEM pour l'ensemble des initiatives financées dans notre pays. En tant que pays contributeur et bénéficiaire, la Côte d'Ivoire réaffirme son soutien aux 8 programmes intégrés ainsi qu'aux 5 domaines d'intervention retenus dans le cadre du FEM 8. Du FEM 9, le FEM 8 a démontré sa capacité à mobiliser des ressources importantes et à générer, efficacement un service au niveau de la planète. Toutefois, face à l'ampleur des défis environnementaux, il est essentiel que davantage de pays rejoignent la caisse du FEM. L'élargissement des participants contributeurs garantirait une solidarité renforcée, une gouvernance plus inclusive et des moyens accrus pour protéger notre biodiversité, notre lutte contre les changements climatiques et de restaurer efficacement nos écosystèmes. Je vous remercie.
Okay. Thank you so much for those reflections. And the Assembly takes note of the report. I now give the floor to our Vice Chairperson, the Vice Minister Hosoda, to start the Head of Delegation statement.
So the Assembly will now proceed with Agenda Item 10, Statement by Heads of Delegations. Now I'd like to invite the Secretary for the housekeeping announcement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chair. So we will, as mentioned, start with the Head of Delegation statements. The floor will be given in the order of the speakers per document GEF/A8/INF05, which has the provisional order of speakers of the Head of Delegations. If any delegation who is not yet in the list wishes to take the floor, you can do so by clicking in your microphone or coming to the first booth here, and we will put you in the order that the statement was received. We remind that the Head of Delegation's statement will pause around noon so we can commence with the opening ceremony, and then we will break for lunch and continue the remaining speakers at 2:30. So with that said, I now give the floor to the Vice Chair.
Okay, thank you for the guidance. With this, I would like to invite our first speaker to deliver a head of delegation statement. I now give the floor to the government of Costa Rica.
So we will kindly request the delegations to request the floor in the microphones, and then you will be called to the stage while we await for the rest of the participants to arrive. So over to you, Vice Chair, to name the countries.
So now I'd like to invite the government of Somalia.
Your Excellency, thank you very much. This is a special and a particular request that the Minister of Environment and Climate Change for Somalia is bound to travel tomorrow early morning. So we have a special request that he should be given the floor today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Somalia. We take note. Would anyone like to request the floor to come to the podium and deliver the statements? Please do so by clicking in your microphone.
Okay, now I'd like to invite the government of Maldives.
Thank you. You can unmute your phone and address the floor.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. His Excellency Aziz Abdukimov, Chair of 8th GEF Assembly, Interim GEF CEO and Chairperson, Dr. Claudia Gascon, Honorable Ministers, distinguished delegates, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. At the outset, let me express my sincere gratitude to the government and people of the Republic of Uzbekistan for the warm welcome and hospitality. I also thank the Global Environment Facility for the excellent arrangements made for the 8th GEF Assembly here in Samarkand. Mr. Chair, the theme for this assembly, the last sprint towards 2030, deeply resonates with the urgency of action required to ensure a healthy and prosperous planet for all. Ambition and commitments we make on various international fora is only meaningful as far as these are translated into action. The GEF, as the financial mechanism for many of these arrangements, play a crucial role in this. For Maldives, GEF funding has been instrumental in unlocking transformative change. For biodiversity conservation to climate mitigation, chemicals and waste, GEF funding has catalyzed and mobilized critically needed action. Whether it be the first UNESCO Biosphere Reserve in the Maldives or the policy framework for energy efficiency, these actions have had real impact on the ground and on people and for our national commitments. Mr. Chair, today, as we more than 30 years ago, the GEF remains relevant and crucial, but we must not take this for granted. GEF must remain flexible and agile to respond to countries' needs and priorities. It must facilitate country ownership throughout. While I welcome the efforts to expand the GEF partnership, we must also ensure that this is done in a manner that caters to the needs of the SIDS and LDCs. We cannot afford an architecture that repeats and recycles in the name of change. We cannot afford to be tied down with administrative and bureaucratic hurdles while our seas rise, our oceans and land degrade, and our connections to the nature is lost. Mr. Chair, let me also take the opportunity to thank everyone that has worked on this replenishment cycle. While I welcome the 9th replenishment and appreciate the donor support, we must also acknowledge we are falling short of matching our ambition with action. I urge everyone to take a moment to reflect where we are and where we need to go. Indeed, the last sprint, and we at the moment, are lagging behind. But working together, we can definitely achieve it. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'll give the floor to the Republic of Seychelles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are requesting the floor for our Minister to make her statement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is noted. I just also want to inform plenary that given that we were expecting to start with this agenda item at 2:30, some people that are in the list that was shared are not yet on the floor. That's why we're taking some requests as we speak, but the list will resume at 2:30 while we continue with whoever is in the floor. With that said, I will now hand it over to the Vice Chairs to continue.
Okay, now I direct to invite the government of the Uzbekistan.
Once again, Assalamu alaikum, Excellencies, distinguished head of delegations, representatives of the Global Environmental Facility, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Republic of Uzbekistan, as a host country, allow me to warmly welcome you in Samarkand and express our sincere appreciation for your participation in this important dialogue on national priorities, environmental challenges, ambitions, and expectations from GEF 9. The theme, last sprint towards 2030, is highly relevant for Uzbekistan. The time remaining until 2030 is limited, and countries need to move from isolated projects to systematic, measurable, and scalable solutions. For Uzbekistan, this is not only an environmental agenda. It is directly linked to quality of life, public health, food security, economic resilience, and long-term competitiveness. Under the leadership of the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, His Excellency Shavkat Mirziyoyev, environmental sustainability and the transition to a green economy have become key priorities of the Uzbekistan 2030 strategy. The main task of a newly established committee, as you know, we recently reorganized our Ministry of Environment to the National Committee on Ecology and Climate Change under the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, is to coordinate 5 national-wide projects in Uzbekistan in priority areas, including air quality protection, biodiversity conservation, waste management, greening of territories, and the development of environmental education and culture. Ladies and gentlemen, against this background, Uzbekistan's expectations from GEF 9 are both practical and strategic. We believe that the new GEF cycle should not be viewed simply as another financing window, but as a platform to accelerate integrated, measurable, and scalable solutions on the path to 2030. First, we expect stronger support for regional programs in Central Asia. Many environmental challenges, land degradation, desertification, sand and dust storms, water stress, air pollution, and biodiversity loss are transboundary. Therefore, the region needs stronger mechanisms for monitoring, early warning, data exchange, and joint risk management. Second, Uzbekistan believes that GEF 9 should support integrated projects linking climate action, biodiversity, land restoration, pollution reduction, chemicals and waste, water sustainability, and urban resilience. Such projects can deliver clearer results for people, ecosystems, and economies. Third, we attach importance to faster and more flexible project preparation mechanisms. For countries that already have clear national strategies, institutional reforms, and major project ideas, it is important to shorten the path from concept to implementation. Fourth, we see a strong role of GEF in supporting sustainable cities. Air quality, green infrastructure, waste, water, energy efficiency, and transport should be addressed as one urban environmental system. In this regard, Samarkand can serve as a platform for practical and scalable solutions. Today, the leadership of Uzbekistan is taking a strategic decision to strengthen the country's role in the global environmental facility, including its readiness to act as a donor to GEF. This reflects Uzbekistan's transition to the more active and responsible partnership with the fund and its willingness to contribute to regional and global environmental actions. As a member of the GEF Council, Uzbekistan intends to promote joint regional initiatives in areas of strategic importance for Central Asia, including land degradation, desertification, sun and dust storms, Aral Sea ecosystem restoration, biodiversity conservation, air quality, sustainable cities, chemicals, and waste. GEF countries to play a vital role in supporting countries across its key focal areas, including biodiversity conservation, climate change, land degradation, international waters, chemicals and waste management, and sustainable forest management. For Uzbekistan, these priorities are closely aligned with our national environmental agenda. We see significant opportunities to further expand cooperation with GEF and mobilize additional resources in support of 5 national initiatives launched by the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan: Bioheritage, Yashil Makan, Green Spaces, Clean Air, Zero Waste Territory, and Ecoculture. These initiatives are aimed at strengthening biodiversity conservation, improving environmental quality, promoting sustainable resource management, and building a greener and more climate-resilient future. Ladies and gentlemen, Uzbekistan approaches the period until 2030 with a clear understanding of its priorities and responsibilities. We are ready to work with the GEF, UN agencies, international financial institutions, neighboring countries, and private sector and scientific institutions to develop a new generation of environmental programs. Our common goal is clear: cleaner air, restored lands, protected biodiversity, resilient cities, stronger regional cooperation, and healthier environment for people. Uzbekistan sees GEF 9 not only as a source of support for national projects, but also as an opportunity to help shape a stronger, more practical, and more efficient environmental partnership for Central Asia and beyond. Thank you for your attention. Kata rahmat.
Thank you very much. Now, I'd like to invite the government of Tuvalu.
Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates and partners, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the government and the people of Tuvalu, I am pleased to have this opportunity to address the 8th Assembly of the Global Environment Facility. I also take this opportunity to extend our appreciation to the government and the people of Uzbekistan and the city of Samarkand for hosting us in this very beautiful city. The convening of the 8th GEF Assembly marks a significant milestone, the end of the GEF 8 cycle and the starting of the GEF 9, which depicts the crossroads of the city of Samarkand provides. Samarkand showcases a historic crossroad of culture enduring symbol of connectivity. It is therefore important that we build on the spirit of genuine partnership and shared responsibility. In fact, we are at a critical juncture in our spirits towards the 2030 sustainability targets. Tuvalu commends the unprecedented momentum generated by GEF partnership, including donors, development partners, and actors that have played their part in their collective efforts to build resilience, strengthen environment sustainability, and reduce pollution. However, we do acknowledge that the world are facing tough times, that every corner of our economies are being pulled to bridge financing and funding gaps and reverse ecosystem collapse. We therefore must commit to move beyond incremental change to deliver transformational change. While we venture into new pathways, we acknowledge the need to adopt emerging narratives of development. We must leverage on the blended finance, empower the private sectors, and ensure that our actions are rooted in science and systems transformation. Importantly, we must recognize the vulnerability and special circumstances of SIDS and LDCs in the development architecture. We must guarantee that resilience and sustainable development is inclusive. Meaningful progress requires putting civil society, local communities, and indigenous peoples at the center of our development and environmental governance. We cannot achieve global environmental sustainability by leaving anyone or country or any community behind. Tuvalu is a small island and a least developed country. The challenge we face and impacts felt by communities is incomparable. We witnessed firsthand the interconnected realities of climate change, biodiversity loss, and land degradation. The Global Environment Facility, through the LDCF, the STAR, provide the finance resources that generate lasting impact on the ground. It plays a crucial role in turning obligations and commitments into actions. It demonstrates the tangible impact of collaborative work can bring. It delivers transformational change in areas where local resources are desperately thin. As we move towards the new cycle, GEF 9, let us use the framework, the strategies, and the momentum built here in Samarkand to scale up investment and ambition to deliver scalable solutions for nature, climate, and pollution. We welcome the programming directions for GEF 9 and the engagement it envisages for us to undertake. We value commitment from donors. Tuvalu reaffirms its steadfast commitment to continue to strengthen genuine partnership to build a resilient and sustainable planet for generations to come. Tuvalu Modedua. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to invite the government of Montenegro.
Excellencies, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to address the Assembly on behalf of Montenegro. As an ecological state and candidate country for membership in the European Union, Montenegro remains strongly committed to the climate resilience, biodiversity protection, and pollution reduction. Montenegro highly values its partnership with the Global Environment Facility and appreciates its continued support. In this context, Montenegro is successfully implementing the GEF 7 project. We are also pleased that the GEF 8 project for Montenegro has been approved and its implementation is expected to begin in the second half of the year. At the national level, Montenegro continues to align its climate policies with the European Green Deal. Our priorities include strengthening ecosystem resilience, protecting fresh water and marine biodiversity, improving circular economy practices, and reducing pollution. Montenegro welcomes the ambition of the GEF 9 replenishment process and supports a stronger focus on transformative and country-driven solutions. Stronger capacity building, technical assistance, and greater improvement of the private sector will be very important in helping small countries meet global commitments. Montenegro also recognized the importance of the inclusive partnership between government, local communities, civil society, academia, and private sector. Montenegro remains committed to working closely with the GEF partners in delivering global benefits and building a more resilient, sustainable, and inclusive future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to invite the government of Burundi.
Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, c'est un honneur pour moi de porter ici la voix du Burundi, le pays des Grands Lacs appelé également pays des mille et une collines, en raison de son relief très accidenté et vallonné, séparé par la crête Congo-Nil, constituant ainsi les deux bassins dont le bassin du fleuve Congo à 48% et le bassin du fleuve RZ de 52%. Le Burundi est un pays agricole avec 5% de la population vivant de la terre et de l'élevage. Mais notre terre est fragile à cause de son relief, comme c'est déjà souligné, provoquant ainsi l'érosion et la dégradation des sols, les inondations où chaque année nous perdons environ 1,5 million de terres de sols fertiles. La sécheresse répétée fait aussi partie de ces défis majeurs que le Burundi fait face aujourd'hui. Donc, la triple crise de la nature, du climat et de la pollution est une réalité au Burundi. Le thème d'aujourd'hui reflète une réalité dans les priorités du Burundi à travers sa vision Burundi pays émergent en 2040 et puis développé en 2060. Le Burundi a ainsi initié différents projets et programmes. À titre d'exemple, le projet national de reboisement et d'agroforesterie, le projet de restauration de paysages par aménagement des bassins versants, pour ne citer que cela. Face à l'urgence, le Burundi soutient les approches globales et intégrées, la transition vers une économie circulaire pour éliminer les pollutions de l'amont en aval. L'expérience du Burundi sur le terrain nous a témoigné que l'action n'est durable que si elle est inclusive. Notre programme de reboisement et les initiatives tenues par le FEM prouvent que la restauration réussit lorsque les populations locales en tirent bénéfice économique, sans oublier l'intégration des femmes, des jeunes et des peuples autochtones. Nous attendons ainsi du FEM 9 un accès simplifié et rapide pour faire face à ces défis environnementaux. Des investissements dans les projets transfrontaliers pour protéger les écosystèmes partagés de la région sont également nécessaires. Je citerai les écosystèmes transfrontaliers comme le lac Tanganyika, le parc de la Ruvu traversé par la rivière Ruvu, principal affluent du lac Victoria via la Kagera, protéger le bassin du Vovo au Burundi garantirait ainsi la sécurité hydrique en aval pour les 40 millions de personnes dépendant du bassin du lac Victoria et du Nil. Nous savons que l'intégration régionale sera essentielle pour soutenir la croissance en Afrique de l'Est et en Afrique centrale. Dans cette région, des actions coordonnées au niveau régional dans le bassin du lac Victoria et le bassin du Congo seront cruciales pour créer des emplois, valoriser des ressources naturelles du pays et de la région et stimuler l'investissement du secteur privé. Ces initiatives contribueront à assurer la santé des écosystèmes, la résilience climatique et le développement socio-économique du bassin, en améliorant la productivité et en créant des emplois grâce à l'exploitation des ressources naturelles du bassin par les marchés nationaux et internationaux et en investissant dans des infrastructures garantissant l'accès à l'alimentation, à l'eau et à l'emploi pour toutes les couches de la population et contribuant ainsi à la croissance économique. Je ne saurais terminer mon allocution sans remercier très vivement le Fonds pour l'environnement mondial en collaboration avec le gouvernement d'Uzbekistan de l'invitation et l'accueil chaleureux qui nous a été réservé. Le sprint vers 2030 ne se gagnera pas seul. Le Burundi est déterminé à accélérer son action pour transformer nos ambitions locales en impact planétaire tangible. Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Now I directly invite Canada, followed by Belgium.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm going to say a few words in French and then I'll revert to English. Le Canada remercie le gouvernement de l'Uzbekistan pour avoir accueilli cette assemblée. En 2023, le Canada a accueilli la 7e assemblée sur les territoires traditionnels non cédés des peuples des Premières Nations. À cette époque, de graves incendies faisaient rage à travers notre pays. Cela a rappelé de manière frappante l'importance de l'action environnementale multilatérale. Le Canada est un fier partenaire du FEM depuis sa création en 1991. Sa valeur est évidente. Le FEM joue un rôle unique. Il sert de mécanisme financier pour 6 accords environnementaux multilatéraux. It delivers results in a cost-effective and integrated way. It also works with funds to maximize impact and minimize fragmentation. As we close the GEF 8 cycle, Canada welcomes progress on key priorities. Women now represent over half of beneficiaries. More than $8 billion in private sector co-financing has been mobilized. Partnerships with Indigenous people have been strengthened. We thank the national Indigenous organizations in Canada for their continued guidance. Their advocacy has helped advance access to resources for Indigenous-led priorities. Looking to GEF 9, Canada supports prioritizing small island development states, least developed countries, Indigenous people, and gender equality. We look to all partners to deliver meaningfully on these fronts. We also recognize a broader financial challenge. Official development assistance from traditional donors is essential, but it cannot get us there alone. We encourage all partners who can contribute to do so. On international climate finance, Canada is delivering. We have set a goal to deliver more than $13 billion over the next 5 years to continue to support people in developing countries, particularly the most vulnerable. On the domestic front, we launched a Force of Nature, Canada's strategy to protect nature. It includes $3.8 billion commitment towards achieving the targets of the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, advancing biodiversity, expanding protected areas, and supporting Indigenous-led initiatives. This work shows Canada's commitment to delivering results for nature at home and globally. In closing, Canada is proud to strongly support the GEF. We are pleased to confirm our contribution to the GEF 9 replenishment, $219 Canadian. 219 million, I said that right, not 219 million Canadian dollars. We look forward to a successful GEF 9 replenishment and to working with all partners to ensure the GEF remains a powerful engine for global environmental action. Thank you et merci.
Thank you. Now I'd like to invite Belgium, followed by South Africa.
Distinguished delegates, dear participants, firstly, I would like to thank the Republic of Uzbekistan for hosting this assembly in Samarkand. Belgium considers the Global Environment Facility a strong example of effective multilateralism. Global challenges, climate change, biodiversity loss and pollution require collective solutions. Multilateral diplomacy is indispensable to address this triple planetary crisis. Guided by science and a strong evaluation culture, the GEF has proven to be a learning institution that continuously improves its efficiency, effectiveness, and impact. Recent assessments confirm its a unique role in supporting countries facing environmental and climate challenges. Investments through the GEF should be seen as long-term contributions to our shared well-being and economic stability. Belgium is proud to be a long-standing partner of the GEF, and as we enter the 9th cycle, we do so with confidence while recognizing the significant pressures and challenges ahead. The GEF has demonstrated strong results in tackling plastic pollution and protecting biodiversity, including in the high seas. Belgium supports its role in the financial mechanism of the Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction Treaty and sees strong potential for its involvement in the future plastic treaty. With a pledge of 80 million euros, Belgium reaffirms its commitment to the GEF as a key multilateral financing mechanism. We encourage others to contribute. GEF 9 aligns closely with Belgium's priorities: climate, biodiversity, sustainable food systems, health and stability. Its integrated approach and focus on vulnerable countries such as LDCs and ISDS are particularly valuable. Belgium supports the replenishment outcome while noting areas for improvement. We emphasize the importance of a stronger support to combat land degradation under the UNCCD. Ambition is also needed in chemical management, particularly regarding eternal pollutants such as PFAS. On blended finance, Belgium supports greater private sector engagement and calls for a more balanced allocation of resources. LDCs and SIDS should benefit more from investment instruments. We also recommend a thorough evaluation of the environmental outcomes of this instrument. Belgium reaffirms its strong support for the LDCF and will continue contributing in the future. We welcome the expansion of GEF implementing agencies and encourage an enlargement to complementary agencies to better address concentration issue. In conclusion, Belgium believes GEF 9 provides a solid foundation for forward-looking action. With inclusive governments and targeted investments, it can drive the systemic changes needed to tackle the planetary crisis. We wish GEF 9 every success and look forward to its positive impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to invite South Africa.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson, Honourable Delegates, and thank you, Belgium, for your continued support. On behalf of the Government of South Africa, I wish to express our sincere appreciation to the government and people of Uzbekistan for their warm hospitality and excellent organization of this 8th GEF Assembly. At a time when the African continent, including South Africa, is confronting severe environmental challenges such as extreme weather events, floods, fires and droughts driven by climate change, global leadership and strengthened international cooperation are more critical than ever. Through its long-standing partnership with the GEF, South Africa has accessed significant funding and technical assistance over the past 3 decades. These resources have enabled implementation of innovative projects that advance sustainable development, strengthening enforcement to combat illicit wildlife trafficking, mitigate the impacts of climate change, conserve biodiversity, reduce human-wildlife conflict, address pollution and waste, and promote cooperative management of transboundary water resources, all contributing to improve livelihoods for our citizens. South Africa's diverse GEF portfolio includes flagship initiatives such as the Rhino Impact Bond, Mega Living Landscapes, the development of circular economy solutions to plastic pollution, and the Sustainable Cities projects. Notably, our first GEF project, the Table Mountain Conservation Project in Cape Town, was approved in 1997 and secured for us $12 million in GEF funding. The GEF Small Grants Program has operated in South Africa for over 20 years, delivering remarkable impact. By bringing together diverse partners, the SGP has demonstrated that environmental challenges cannot be effectively addressed without simultaneously tackling social and developmental needs. South Africa commends the GEF Secretariat and the representatives of both donor and recipient countries for successfully concluding the GEF 9 replenishment process. This outcome reflects a strong collective commitment to confronting the environmental crises facing our planet. As a responsible global citizen, South Africa has consistently supported the GEF's mission. Since GEF 4, we have honored our pledges to successive replenishments. In this spirit, we are pleased to announce a pledge of 106 million South African rand, equivalent to approximately $6.5 million. Chairperson, during the recent centenary celebrations of our flagship Kruger National Park, which some of you might have visited, a landmark beneficiation scheme framework agreement was signed with previously dispossessed communities. 25,000 hectares of land which was claimed has now been restored to communities, and we would like to speak to the GEF Secretariat about supporting these communities so that they could benefit economically from the opportunities that they now have. Support for scaling or replicating this approach could strengthen community buy-in, reduce human-wildlife conflict, and enhance the sustainability of protected areas. It represents a forward-looking example of conservation with equity that aligns closely with GEF's mandate on biodiversity, sustainable land management, and inclusive governance. Partnering on such initiatives would allow GEF to demonstrate tangible impact in addressing both environmental and socioeconomic challenges in one of Africa's most iconic conservation landscapes. Ladies and gentlemen, we must not regress on the progress made in addressing the triple planetary crises of climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. While we welcome GEF 9 replenishment of almost $4 billion, it is concerning that this represents a significant decrease from the $5.5 billion available under GEF 8. Although funding proportions for biodiversity, land degradation, chemicals and waste, and international waters have remained relatively stable, the sharp reduction in the climate change focal area is particularly worrying. Additionally, certain policy recommendations approved by the Council, which seek to differentiate among developing countries based on income levels, run counter to the principles of multilateral environmental agreements for which the GEF serves as the financial mechanism. Such differentiation risks undermining the fundamental principle of common but differentiated responsibilities, a cornerstone of the Rio agreements. Furthermore, the substantial increase in the proportion of non-grant instruments, including loans and blended finance, will require careful design and structuring to ensure that they deliver optimal benefits for developing countries. In conclusion, South Africa stands ready to collaborate closely with GEF Secretariat, implementing agencies, and our African partners to ensure that GEF 9 resources are utilized effectively and efficiently. We remain committed to advancing critical environmental protection, the sustainable use of our natural resources, and broader sustainable development objectives. I thank you.
Thank you, South Africa. I now pause the statement session and pass the floor to the Secretariat for the housekeeping announcement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chair. So I have some good news for the Assembly. I have just been informed that Her Excellency Saida Mirziyoyeva, head of the Presidential Administration of Uzbekistan, is soon to arrive to the venue to formally open the Assembly. We will then make a 15-minute pause to set this stage for a very nice surprise from the host government. We invite the participants to remain seated in the venue. The doors to your right will be closed for security reasons, but you are free to use the doors in the left if needed. We invite everyone to be ready for the opening ceremony at 11:50, so we can start promptly before noon. With that, I thank you. I'll see you shortly.